AI is rewriting the business playbook with productivity boosts and faster decision-making coming to every industry. If you're not thinking about AI, you can bet your competition is. This is not where you want to drop the ball. But AI requires a lot of compute power. And with most cloud platforms, the cost for your AI workloads can spiral. That is, unless you're running on OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This was the cloud built for AI, a blazing fast enterprise-grade platform for your infrastructure, database, apps, and all your AI workloads. OCI costs 50% less than other major hyperscalers for compute, 70% less for storage, and 80% less for networking. Thousands of businesses have already scored with OCI, including Vodafone, Thomson Reuters, and Suno AI. Now the ball's in your court.
Right now, Oracle can cut your current cloud bill in half if you move to OCI. Minimum financial commitment and other terms apply. Offer ends March 31st. See if your company qualifies for this special offer at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic.
Hey, this is Joel.
And Matt from the How to Money podcast.
My kids, Matt, they've got a few long weekends coming up, so I'm looking forward to taking a few trips with my family during those breaks.
Nice. Yeah. And while you're away, you can host your house on Airbnb. Thanks to the Airbnb co-host feature, hosting is now easier than ever. You can access a network of high-quality local co-hosts who can help you get your home ready for guests. Find a co-host at airbnb.com/host.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you, you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Lowe's knows how to help you get the most out of your store run. That's why members save more with MyLowe's Rewards. Earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases. Get access to member-only deals and free member gifts. Plus, unlock free standard shipping when you reach Silver Key status. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today. Lowe's. We help. You save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Zoe and you're listening to Climbing in Heels for your weekly dose of glamour, inspiration, and of course, fun. This week, I am reporting to you live from the one and only New York Fashion Week. The week is definitely not over yet, and we've already been through like 2 different snowstorms and of course, tons of events. And you know, I don't recommend wearing sheer fabric gowns and 8-inch heels in a blizzard, but you know, here we are. I am who I am. I asked my followers to submit some Fashion Week questions, so I'm going to answer as many as I can. Let's jump right into it. Okay. What time are shows typically AM, PM, and how long do they last? It used to be, when I started, Marc Jacobs' show was like a night show, and it would be like 8 or 9, or it would be called for 8 and would start at 9. And then he started exactly on time to the minute. And if you did not get there, you missed the show. But the earliest show is typically 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. The last show I remember being 9 a.m. was The Row. And you have to be a show that everyone wants to see to do it at 9 a.m. during Fashion Week, because a lot of people end up sleeping through it if they had a rough night the night before. And the shows themselves are so short. It's like 8 minutes to 15 minutes, depending on the number of looks, but really, really short. And I always say it's kind of like doing a wedding where you just work so hard on this event, and then it's literally over in 10 minutes. It's bizarre, actually. Okay, what are my thoughts on the Calvin Klein collection? I think it's super chic and very old school Calvin. Like, it kind of feels like not that much time has passed, but it feels very Calvin Klein Calvin. So for those of you that are fashion people and kind of know that Calvin himself has not designed directly for Calvin in many, many years, probably at least 15 years, I would think. Francisco Costa was there for 8 years. And then Raf Simons briefly. And now there's a new designer there who I think did a really beautiful collection, honestly, very wearable and very true to Calvin. And I think the way you know that is you see that, the old school muses were all there, like Christy Turlington and Kate Moss. I mean, it was a really big deal. Aaron Wasson was there, and I thought it was really chic and really cool. I really liked it, and I think there's a big future there for it. Okay, which do you like better, New York Fashion Week or Paris Fashion Week? I mean, I hate saying it because I am a true New Yorker at the core. However, I'm pretty sure nothing can really compete with Paris Fashion Week. And I think anyone would probably tell you that, whether it's ready to wear or couture. And I think even just if you base it on like walking out of a show in the Tuileries Garden, it's like you just gasp for air. And as many times as I've been to Paris for Fashion Week, it never gets old. I mean, it's just magical. I just breathe differently in Paris. Okay, what are your must visit places during Fashion Week? It's funny. I don't get a lot of free time in between shows and events and meetings during Fashion Week. So I don't get to do a lot of my, like, if I came to New York for a week for work that wasn't Fashion Week, all the places I would go. But this place that I just went to was so good, called the Corner Store. It felt like true American meets like French bistro, like Dover sole and spinach artichoke dip. But I loved the decor. I loved the vibe so much. I love the Corner Store. I think, go to San Ambrose tonight. I went to the Crane Club, which was incredibly chic. I cannot wait to go back there. I feel like if I was designing my home as like a nightclub supper club, it would look like the Crane Club, which was super cool. I'm really loving the trend right now in membership clubs that are very like feel old school New York supper club. They're very velvety and dark with like disco ball fixtures and lots of brass hardware on everything, which I love. Feels very like Tom Ford Saint Laurent era meets Halston. It's giving me that vibe. What stores do I like to go to? God. If I'm uptown, Bergdorf's all the way. I love vintage stores. What goes around comes around. Resurrection, New York Vintage, but they just recently had the vintage show that I missed here, which is my favorite. What else do I love to do here? I don't know. I have so many favorites in New York. I feel so happy here. Like if I was here longer, I would go to Carbone for sure, Via Carota. Polo Bar, one of my absolute favorites. I hope I go before I leave New York. Yeah, I could go on for days. Okay, what hair tool do I use for my waves? Honestly, I use all T3 hair tools. I use the minis when I travel and the full size when I'm at home. But I always bring my wand, which has like a 1 inch, a 1.5 inch barrel, because I don't wash it that much during Fashion Week. So, and then it styles better anyway, and especially because it's been snowing on and off. Okay, how do you plan your outfits for Fashion Week? That's an interesting question. It's overwhelming, honestly, because the shows that I go to are mostly my friends' shows, and they send me clothes to wear, and they send like a different assortment of looks for me to pick from before I leave LA. And then the looks are here when I get here, and sometimes they fit and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're meant for a 6-foot model, and I need like a foot taken off the bottom, even with my 8-inch heels. But then I basically quickly try everything on before the show if I have time the night before. And if not, then just before the show, and I throw it on and just figure out how to make it work. Sometimes I pin it, rig it, clamp it, all the things. And, but I would just say, like, I plan as best I can, but I always have to bring suitcases with my own stuff, because if the outfit doesn't work out, then I always need to have my own clothes just in case. And also, like, if I go to dinner with friends after the show, sometimes I want to come home and change into something of my own. I would say that my staples, I bring an assortment of black, bell-bottom flared pants in suede, in leather, in denim, in just like a lightweight wool tux fabric, everything, just every kind of black pant and like a wide leg denim trouser, something like that I could throw on with everything, a myriad of faux furs, vintage furs, things like that. Lots of like marabou just to kind of throw on evening looks, and sweaters, some good sweaters and layering pieces, and great jackets, because New York Fashion Week is all about the coat. It's just about the coat, the coat, the coat, the coat.
Okay, business leaders, are you playing defense or are you on the offense? Are you just, excuse me, hey, I'm trying to talk business here. As I was saying, are you here just to play or are you playing to win? If you're in it to win, meet your next MVP, NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is your full business management system in one suite. With NetSuite, you're running your accounting, your financials, HR, e-commerce, and more, all from your online dashboard. One source of truth means every department's working from the same numbers with no data delays. And with AI embedded throughout, you're automating manual tasks, plus getting fast insights for your next move. Whether you're competing on your home turf or looking to conquer international markets, NetSuite helps you get the W. Over 40,000 businesses have already made the move to NetSuite, the #1 cloud ERP.
Right now, get the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/stereo. Get this free guide at netsuite.com/stereo.
Okay, guys.
This is what you do when you have high standards and fancy all the fancy things, like an iconic Dior saddlebag or that diamond tennis bracelet. You go to eBay. There you'll find new loves that will never disappoint, expertly authenticated and everything. Whether it's that vintage pearl necklace or brand new ruby earrings, a Prada crossbody bag to be besties with your other handbags, even an eternally classic watch like that Rolex Oyster or that Cartier Tank. You know the one. And when you find it, eBay has their experts' eyes to make sure you're getting the real deal. That way you can be confident that the designer finds you came for, the luxury wardrobe you've always wanted, it's all real. In fact, it's verified authentic. So bring your high standards and never limit what you can find. Yeah, eBay, the place for new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay, things people love.
During tax season, your sensitive info does a lot of traveling to places you can't control. Stopping off at payroll, your accountant or tax preparer, and countless other data centers on its way to the IRS. Any of them can expose you to identity theft because they all have the info on your W-2, just the ticket for criminals to steal your identity. No wonder the IRS reported tax fraud due to identity theft went up 20% last year. You need LifeLock. They monitor millions of data points per second and alert you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it, backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. And restoration is guaranteed, or your money back. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Get LifeLock protection for tax season and beyond. Join now and save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code IHEART or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
Sail to breathtaking destinations in Alaska or Europe with the Disney Cruise Line. Discover where onboard magic meets onshore adventures, where beloved characters
Hiya, pal!
meet alluring landscapes, where Broadway quality shows meet historic cities, where imaginative dining meets amazing wildlife, and where exciting experiences await the whole family. Book an adventure-filled summer Disney cruise to Alaska or Europe.
This is a funny question, and a question I get asked probably once a day, actually. How are you able to walk in such high heels? Do you know what's funny? I actually don't find it challenging. And I don't want to jinx it, but I have only really eaten it fully maybe once or twice, where I like, and by the way, it was very recently, and I actually sprained my ankle, and it's still not totally healed, probably because I continue to wear really high heels. But I find that if I wear a platform, I can stay in them for 10, 14 hours at a time. So yeah, I don't find it hard. It's actually harder for me to wear flats. I kind of wobble in flats, and forget ski boots. That's like really challenging for me. I packed Valentino shoes, all my Valentino platforms in different colors and fabrics, patent and leather, shiny and matte. Also Alaya. I have these great like lug sole Alaya kind of shooties, I would say. It's like an ankle boot shoe. What else? Right? I think that's it. Alaya's and Valentino's basically. And Louis Vuittons. They go with me everywhere. My very, very high black pump. What trends are you seeing at New York Fashion Week, and what trends do you expect to see on the Oscar red carpet? Honestly, the biggest trend at New York Fashion Week is luxury, is really like this whole quiet luxury trend is really hitting hard because I think people have come off of COVID in pajamas. Then they really wanted to get out of pajamas into gowns, or for me anyway. And now I think they're trying to find that great middle ground. I also think people are going back to work in an office and they want to look chic and polished, but also be comfortable. Because I think the one thing that COVID taught us was how we can be comfortable and how we deserve to be comfortable every day when we're working. But what I am seeing is this like lots of layered, very layered, luxurious cashmeres and wools and really soft textured fabrics in jewel tones, which I always love to see this time of year, and layered, like beautiful wine colors. And I thought I would see more of the Pantone color of this, that sort of like mocha latte color. But I haven't seen that. I mean, I have, but not more than usual. And what else? I mean, I have seen some evening incorporated into the luxury in like nude sequins and like, but I've seen them with like flats, a gown with flats. I've seen a lot of, like a lot of like nude sequins with layers, lots of layers, and lounge dressing still, like pajama dressing, which I feel like everyone will be happy about. But like pajamas, like silk pajamas with like a blazer over it and then belted with boots. And I love that. I really feel that. And I think it's very wearable and easy and comfortable. What do I expect to see on the Oscar red carpet? A lot of Schiaparelli, a lot of Versace, a lot of sculpted gowns with a lot of work in them. I think we're going to see, I think the Schiaparelli sort of trend in heavily designed, heavily sculpted gowns, I think is going to be here a lot. I think we're still going to see some of the nude transparency. I think that's just here to stay. I hope it's done in a tasteful way at the Oscars. I think endless beading and like crystals and things like that. I think we'll see that. I think we'll see a lot of this sort of blushy, nude, soft metallics. I don't know that we'll see, maybe we'll see a lot of black this year because of the wildfires and stuff like that. I don't know that so many people are going to want to come out like so loud and flashy. So we'll see if that affects it. Didn't really affect it for Grammys, so maybe not. I think there's a huge trend in being okay to repeat wear something, right? I think case in point, Cate Blanchett keeps re-wearing things that she's worn. And what's so great about Cate Blanchett is she's like repeating and remaking things that she herself has actually worn, which is really amazing, like from Armani to Gaultier. And I love that. I mean, she's, can't touch Cate Blanchett. So I love that for her. And that's Elizabeth Stewart styles her. So they collaborate on that. But I think I've also seen a lot of vintage. I've seen a lot of the models wearing vintage, like the Hailey Biebers and Kendall Jenners. Like I've seen them wearing amazing, like vintage Galliano, vintage Dior, vintage Versace. I've seen a lot of them are coming from this amazing resource called Tab Vintage. Tab Vintage takes really amazing pieces from like late 90s, early 2000s, which is why I think it's resonating so much with those girls. Anything from like a chic slip dress that Kate Moss wore, on the carpet, on the runway, which is amazing. And also I've loved to see sort of Donatella having a lot of people wear like vintage Gianni Versace from the archives, which, I actually remember, which was so cool. But I think wearing vintage versus repurposing, I think vintage, you're pulling from different resources like Shrimpton Couture, Tab Vintage. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, I get a lot from First Dibs, but at the end of the day, I think repurposing, I think for a celebrity to come out and say, I'm wearing this again that I wore 20 years ago or 10 years ago is really making a statement. And I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. Because I think for so long, it was like, you could not be seen in the same even jacket that you were wearing. And I was like, that's insane. Like, how are these people supposed to like have a jacket or a bag? Can they not be photographed in the same bag or jacket? It seems so ridiculous to me. Okay, what is my go-to coffee order and moisturizer routine? Okay, so coffee, I don't drink coffee because I suffer from terrible acid reflux. And as much as I want to drink coffee, especially during Fashion Week, my reflux really acts up just because I'm not sleeping as much. Drinking a lot of wine, drinking too much caffeine, and doing all the things you're not supposed to do. My moisturizing routine. So my skin in New York is like, I feel like a lizard. I actually feel like a lizard. I actually apply facial oil during the day. It's crazy. But my skincare here really is comprised of various products from Barbara Sturm and U Beauty, especially when it comes to hydration. And I use everything from Barbara's serums like the hyaluronic acid, the niacinamide, the Glow Drops, Glow Serum, Calming Serum. I really love them. They're really game changing. I just ran out of my night serum and I kind of panicked last night. I love her super rich face cream and eye cream. And I also use a ton of U Beauty. I use the Bioactive barrier at night, which I love because you wake up hydrated. I love her Eye Return. I love Arm Sculpt. I love her intensive face oil, which I literally like wake up in the morning and pat it all over my face. And literally by the time I go to put makeup on, I'm still hydrated, but it's absorbed. I love it. It's really good. It's an intensive face oil and I just can't get enough of it. And she makes great minis for travel, which is like game changer. I also, for those of you that love a very hydrating moisturizer, the U Beauty Super Hydrator, it's sort of like, I honestly can't get enough of it. It is that good. It is that good. And she does it in tinted as well. Okay. What did I miss? What is your favorite New York snack or food? I mean, I try to keep a protein bar or something in my bag at all times. I like different ones. I like Mosh bars. I like Nugo. It depends. I don't like ones that are super dense and rich. I find them a little nauseating, honestly. But trail mix is always a good thing to have in your bag. What else? What has been your favorite New York fashion show to date? Oh God, in the history of fashion. I mean, definitely New York. I would say Tom Ford and Marc Jacobs have always been, and Michael Kors are always really, really fun shows. Oscar de la Renta. I would have to say the Oscar de la Renta show that I went to shortly before he passed was one of the most beautiful shows. And I went there and I left my studio because I was showing the next day. And I left my studio with a room full of casting. I was casting all the models, doing all these fittings. And I ran out, took a car to his show because I knew in my soul it might be his last one. And it was just, thank God I did, because I would have regretted it forever. And it was one of the most beautiful shows. And I can't remember the year, but Oscar shows during New York Fashion Week was like going to the opera. It was just so beautiful and so elegant. And it was always a true New York moment. And then this sort of contrast to a Marc Jacobs show from an Oscar show was always really special. But I mean, I miss it. I miss Tom Ford showing here. I miss Marc closing the Fashion Week. You know, I miss Oscar's shows. I miss, you know, I miss Ralph Lauren's shows. So I miss a lot of my favorites. I really do. I think it's all over the place now in terms of how people show and when they decide to show, which I think is hard for people that travel. But yeah, but I have too many favorites. Too many favorites. You know what? I just remembered one that Mark did that felt very 70s Missoni vibe. Like it definitely felt very Italian influence with like the hair, the makeup, the sort of metallic sort of lurex knits and stuff. And I remember that show so well. It was at the Park Avenue Armory. It was amazing. Thank you so much for joining me for this New York Fashion Week episode of the pod. I have a few more shows and events left to attend, so I can answer more of your questions on my social and at Rachel Zoe. Feel free to send a question to my Instagram or the show's Instagram. Thank you so much for listening to Climbing in Heels. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the iHeart app, or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode this season. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Rachel Zoe and the show on at Climbing in Heels Pod for the latest episodes and updates. I will talk to you soon. Mwah.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/iHeart.
During tax season, your sensitive info does a lot of traveling to places you can't control. Stopping off at payroll, your accountant or tax preparer, and countless other data centers on its way to the IRS. Any of them can expose you to identity theft because they all have the info on your W-2, just the ticket for criminals to steal your identity. No wonder the IRS reported tax fraud due to identity theft went up 20% last year. You need LifeLock. They monitor millions of data points per second and alert you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it, backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. And restoration is guaranteed, or your money back. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Get LifeLock protection for tax season and beyond. Join now and save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code iHeart or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
When you're with Amex Business Platinum, you have the card that works just as hard as you do. You give 150% to your business, and so does your card. With 1.5 times membership rewards points on select purchases, you earn rewards that can take your business further. And with complimentary access to more than 1,400 lounges globally, including the Centurion Lounge, you can stay up to speed no matter where your business takes you. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/Amex Business.
Sail to breathtaking destinations in Alaska or Europe with the Disney Cruise Line. Discover where onboard magic meets onshore adventures, where beloved characters
Hiya, pal!
meet alluring landscapes, where Broadway quality shows meet historic cities, where imaginative dining meets amazing wildlife, and where exciting experiences await the whole family. Book an adventure-filled summer Disney cruise to Alaska or Europe.